This one shirt, 3 seconds on live TV, cost someone millions. Let's see how. Days ago, a man walked onto live Spanish television, held up a football shirt, and accidentally started a legal war. Not with a lawsuit, not with a press release, with a name printed on the back of a jersey. The name was Haaland. The shirt was Real Madrid red. That wasn't a transfer rumor. That was a $20 million legal mistake. And nobody is explaining why. Until now. And by the end of this video, you will never watch a transfer announcement the same way again. Here are the only two things you need to know. Real Madrid, 2 seasons, 0 trophies, and June 7th, presidential election. Florentino Perez built the Bernabeu and won multiple Champions Leagues. His challenger, Enrique Riquelme, has never run a football club. But he understands one thing perfectly. In football elections, the bigger the promise, the louder the crowd. And whoever wins Sunday doesn't just inherit a club. They inherit the commercial contracts, the sponsorship deals, the transfer budgets, the manager salaries. One of sport's most powerful commercial empires decided in a single vote. That is not a football story. That is a corporate acquisition disguised as an election. But the election is actually the smallest part of this story. What happened in the contract signed 14 months ago, that is what nobody saw coming. So Riquelme walks on television, holds up a Real Madrid shirt with Haaland on the back, and tells the world the Norwegian wants to come. Manchester City's response was not the response of a club brushing off a rumor. It was a legal department being activated. 3 statements, each one more serious than the last. The stories are untrue. There is no clause to enable this transfer. We are considering legal action for the use of our player's image. Here is what that actually means. Haaland is not just a footballer. He is a commercial asset. His name, his face, his number 9, all of it is contractually protected property. Using that image in an unauthorized political broadcast is not bad manners. It is a legally actionable image rights violation, and image rights at Haaland's level are worth millions. That is the hidden clause nobody explained on television. Every fan who bought a Haaland City shirt this season, they just became part of a legal argument worth millions. Think about that. Subscribe to Qrazzles if you want to understand what is actually happening underneath every transfer story this summer. This channel exists for one reason, because the story inside the contract is always bigger than the story on the pitch. Now the contract itself. In January 2025, Haaland signed a new deal. 9.5 years. Tying him to City until 2034, Manchester City confirmed. No release clause. His agent denied it. His father denied it. But here is what Riquelme actually knew. He was not telling the truth. He was creating a debate. Because in election psychology, a bold, impossible promise gets more votes than a careful, honest plan. And in football business, the moment a player's name gets attached to a club publicly, the market moves. Shirt sales spike. Sponsors take notice. Broadcasts pay attention. He weaponized Haaland's commercial value as free advertising for his own campaign. Now forget everything you just heard, because the real money in this story was never about Haaland. Manchester City's legal threat only made the story bigger. That is either brilliant or extremely expensive. Probably both. Now here is the layer nobody has discussed. While the Haaland shirt dominated the coverage, a separate financial decision worth tens of millions was quietly being made. The new Real Madrid manager. Perez wants Mourinho. Riquelme's camp reportedly wants Klopp. Most people are framing that as a tactics debate. But I am not watching tactics. I am reading contracts. A manager at Real Madrid commands tens of millions per year in salary alone, plus performance bonuses, plus termination clauses. Because if you sack a manager before the contract expires, you still pay every euro remaining on that deal. Real Madrid have already paid out multiple managerial compensations this season. Now a third appointment is coming. Before a single match is played next season, the new president is committing the club to a financial obligation worth potentially 50 million euros. That is the conversation in the boardroom right now. Not tactics, numbers. And while Real Madrid's civil war runs, a quieter story is building in England. Manchester City bid for Elliot Anderson from Nottingham Forest. Forest rejected it, because Forest understands something every club eventually learns. Once you have an asset a top club needs, the leverage shifts entirely. You don't accept the first bid, you wait until the buying club becomes desperate. And desperation in football transfers is extremely expensive. But here is where it gets interesting for contract readers. If City can't get Anderson, their fallback is Sandro Tonali. Different player, different agent, different contract demands. And Arsenal are also in for Tonali, which means one failed bid triggers a cascade of parallel negotiations across multiple clubs, each with their own clauses, agent fees, image rights structures, and performance bonuses. Fans watch the final announcement. Executives have been managing cascading financial exposure for months. Subscribe to Qrazzles now. This transfer window is only just beginning. These are not separate stories. They are one story. A presidential election that is really a corporate acquisition, a shirt on television that is really an image rights violation, a manager debate that is really a 50 million euro commitment, a transfer bid that is really the beginning of a multi-club contract war. Same story. Completely different conversations. People watch the games. I read the contracts. And if you think Sunday's result is the end of this story, next video I'm going to show you the one contract clause that will make whoever loses this election instantly irrelevant. You will want to be subscribed for that one. Subscribe to Qrazzles, because the contracts that follow Sunday's result will reshape European football immediately.